Diddy, record producer, musician, executive, fashion mogul, entrepreneur, billionaire. Almost as many titles as he has names. Now, can we add criminal to the list of titles? Welcome to Fact and Suspicion. I'm your host, Dan, here with my co-host, Ben.
Hello.
I'm glad to be back.
As am I, but even more glad to hear that your daughter's doing much better.
She's doing quite well. Don't get too sidetracked with it, but we have been delayed. We're back now. We thought that coming back with one of the biggest deals in the news right now, and just talk about what Diddy has done and what started his downfall here. As we all know, he was basically seemed to be on top of the world. This man was a billionaire. He had the music industry. He had his Sean John clothing brand. He had his partnership with Ciroc, among other things, right? Just making tons of money, right? But then, in 2023, Diddy's ex, Cassie Ventura, a lot of people know she was a singer. I would say she was a very popular singer. She wasn't obviously on the level of Diddy.
Was she the woman from that unfortunate video?
Yes, in the video from the hotel.
I knew that name.
Yeah. She files a lawsuit against him in 2023. She accuses him of rape, sex trafficking, and physical abuse. Also in the lawsuit, she actually claimed that he blew up Kid Cudi's car.
Really?
Yeah. So here's how that happened. According to Cassie, they had a sort of small breakup, Diddy and Cassie. They were on again, off again, up until 2018, from around 2007 to 2018. And in one of their off periods, she briefly sort of dates Kid Cudi, right? And Diddy, or should I just call him Sean Combs? I don't know. He has so many names. We'll call him Combs at the moment, right? Sean Combs at the time is very angry and starts saying, I'm going to blow his car up. And Cassie says, well, he did blow his car up. And a spokesperson for Kid Cudi has confirmed that his car did blow up around this time in his driveway.
Interesting.
So straight up, almost mafia stuff there, right?
Yeah.
Right. But so this is all alleged in the lawsuit, right? She files the lawsuit. In less than 24 hours, Diddy has settled the lawsuit. And you can argue, yeah, he's trying to, stop this in its tracks, right? He doesn't want this to go to trial. He doesn't want Discovery to bring out a lot of other stuff.
Point of settling.
But settling within 24 hours was sort of a bad look. It made him look scared. And that's what starts the talk, right? And at that point, you have other people coming forward with allegations. Now, let's talk a little bit more about Cassie. She said that he hit her. He forced her to have sex with male sex workers while he watched, videoed it. Then, obviously, there was the video of him, hitting her very violently and dragging her back to the hotel room.
I saw the video. It was horrific.
It is very horrific.
But I didn't know about allegations that he forced her to sleep with other men.
Yeah. Well, so, the allegations of the freak off parties, like that she was involved in them apparently back in the day, and more of that comes out later in different allegations. But she did allege the freak offs and how he was, forcing her to have sex with other men. Now, obviously his lawyers are arguing that she was not forced to, right?
Right.
But he did video this stuff. The videos exist. The lawyers have seen the videos. They're going to come out in trial, seems like. But yeah, all that seems to have happened. The hotel incident has to have happened. We've seen the video now,
of course.
And that's terrible. I don't know how that didn't come out years ago.
If you haven't seen it, it's horrific. It depicts P. Diddy. Does he punch her and then drag her by the hair across?
Yeah, he does. And you see him like he's in a towel and I think some sandals running through the hotel room.
She's at the elevator trying to leave.
Trying to escape. I guess he was in the shower and then he hits her. He grabs her by the hair, starts dragging her back to the room. It's a terrible video. If you remember when that Ray Rice video came out and everybody thought that was terrible.
This was like, much worse.
Yeah, Ray Rice looks like he was playing Candyland with his wife or something, right? It was
How long has that video been publicly available?
So the incident was in, I believe, 2016, but obviously the video never came out.
Right.
It came out earlier this year. I don't remember which month. CNN. This was last year in 2024.
Okay.
CNN put it out, but apparently Diddy actually paid the hotel $50,000 for that footage at the time to keep it from coming out.
Oh wow!
Allegedly, he paid the hotel $50,000 for the footage, and that kept it from being made public at the time.
Then how did she get access to it? Was it part of discovery, or well, he settled so quickly with there even been?
I don't think there's any discovery. I think just the fact that she alleged that it existed in that lawsuit, it was public. Mm-hmm. Then CNN starts digging, trying to find the footage, if that makes sense. So yeah, I think that it probably still existed somewhere. It just kept them from the 50,000. I guess.
Let's be honest. If a wealthy person pays you for access to a video, you're probably going to make a copy of that thing first.
Oh, who wouldn't? Yeah. I would. I don't know, this could be worth a lot later on. Of course, apparently Diddy has had a history of making people sign non-disclosure agreements, so I guess he didn't require that at the time for the video. But right, as I said, this really started stuff rolling.
I mean, you can't have a non-disclosure agreement, a valid one, over a crime, though.
I guess that's true, but is this...
I don't think he could have a non-disclosure agreement that prevented someone from releasing that video because it depicts a crime.
I guess that makes sense.
I could be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure that's the way this works.
I don't know. I'm not sure. Can a non-disclosure agreement even affect physical evidence like a video?
I don't know.
It's kind of a... We should probably look into that. That seems like a slippery slope. At any rate, these accusations from Cassie, the settling of the lawsuit quickly is what starts rolling the ball down the hill here, right? Sexual assault allegations just start to roll in against Diddy at this point. One going all the way back to 1991, in which he allegedly assaulted a woman and videotaped it. Then later on went and he showed this video later on to other people as sort of a revenge porn thing. And then, the woman got upset about it and he goes to her house and gets violent with her and chokes her in front of people. Again, this is all alleged, right? We don't have proof of this, but people are claiming that it happened. And this is all the way back in 1991. So you can't say that this behavior is just a result of him becoming so powerful later. Because in 1991, he was just an intern at Uptown Records, right?
Right.
And a party promoter. As I said, just tons of allegations start to come out at this point. And finally, in February of 2024 is when what I feel like is the biggest bombshell allegation comes out, or at least what starts to get all the information out there, is when Lil Rod files the lawsuit. Now, Rodney Jones is his real name. He's a producer that was working for Diddy when he was making the Love album.
Okay.
Right. Now, Diddy actually had Lil Rod basically live with him for months during this time, right? He was having him record all the time, do video recordings, audio recordings, and he wanted him there to produce a song if he needed to produce it. And Lil Rod was exposed to a lot of stuff at the time.
I mean, if half of the allegations from the freak offs are true, yeah, I would say he saw some shit.
Right. Well, it's not just that. So not just the stuff about that. He gets into that stuff with this, but also he accuses Diddy of harassing him, groping him. In like, some people call it just grabbing his butt, but actually I think in the lawsuit it says, grabbing his anus, which I don't want someone else grabbing my anus. That sounds terrible.
It does sound worse.
Among other things, Diddy would appear nude in front of him. He'd have him come in while he's showering or taking a bath and do recordings and stuff. Just really rough stuff. Now, Lil Rod also alleges that he was sexually assaulted by a cousin of Young Miami, a female cousin of Young Miami, while he was there at Diddy's behest. Like Diddy said, go do something, do this or that to him, which Lil Rod didn't want to do that. And like I said, a lot
he was supposedly friends with
Lil Rod, or
well, I mean, one of them was his roommate at the time, right? Was staying with him.
Well, Lil Rod was living in the house with Diddy at the time,
right?
Right. Now, Young Miami is another rapper who would be around.
Now, were these people of means, or were they people who were broke enough that he could manipulate them?
But both apparently. Like you're talking about both like rappers like Young Miami and her cousin, which she's not a rapper, but obviously she's going to have money because her cousin has the money.
Right.
But these people are pretty much beholden to Diddy as well, right? Because he's so powerful in the music industry. Right, he can say, do this, and they do it. Then also he hires sex workers as well for these kind of parties that he has. Now, as I said, with all this recording, though, Jones ends up with a lot of footage of Diddy and other famous people, Diddy's associates, things like that, engaging in a lot of illegal activity. Not limited to drugs. You've got sexual assault, trafficking, lacing drinks, and then giving them to guests, sometimes underage guests, underage sex workers.
Oh, dear God.
And then, assaulting them while they're incapacitated.
I mean, I've seen a lot of speculation about what other famous people may have been at these gatherings.
Yeah. Well, starting off here, and Lil Rod names a few names, but they're mostly executives, the ones that he names in these things. And you hear other names in conjunction with Diddy so often, but so many of them are rumors off the internet right now. And we'll get more into those, especially like with Jay-Z. You hear that all the time, Jay-Z and Beyonce. But Lil Rod is the one that brings these freak-off parties into the light, which is these freak-offs are basically these orgies that Diddy hosts with, like, for instance, Cassie or maybe other women he's dating, where he'll hire sex workers to come in and have sex, and Diddy likes to watch, he likes to film it, and keeps videos of this stuff. And like I said, we don't know who all was involved in them, but...
Are there any allegations that he used this material as blackmail?
Yeah, well, according to Lil Rod, Diddy had footage of, and not necessarily at his freak-offs, but had footage of basically everyone that came to his parties that he could use to blackmail them. We don't know exactly what. He said of maybe using drugs, maybe sexual assault. We don't know, but he kept videos. It seems that he kept hidden cameras all over the house, right?
Right.
And he was just videoing constantly, so he catches anyone doing anything.
My understanding was this was sort of an open secret in the industry. A lot of people knew about these. Maybe they didn't know the extent of the criminality, but they knew about the orgies.
Yeah, and if you happen to be
some of P. Diddy's more exploitative behaviors.
Well, if you happen to be on one of the videos, though, you're not going to say anything about it.
Of course,
right?
But there were like casual mentions of it. I mean, I think Eminem's mentioned some of P. Diddy's behavior.
Oh, Eminem did. Cat Williams mentioned it a few times, but everyone says Cat Williams is crazy now. He always talks about the Illuminati, and he was drunk on Shannon Sharp's show when he was talking about it. But it seems that a lot of this stuff has come out to light. I don't remember which interview it was. It may have been on Shannon Sharp's show where Cat Williams was talking about, you got to watch Diddy. He gets around, and I think he said he was trying to protect his anal virginity or something along those lines. Cat Williams is a lot funnier than I am when he says that. But yeah, obviously, you have a lot of conflicts of interest at that point, right? If someone ends up on the video doing this, that, doing drugs, sleeping with an underage sex worker, slipping someone, maybe you couldn't see it on a video, but drugging someone to take advantage of them, maybe you could see it on the video, any number of things. And if you even did something at a party, you don't know if you're on the video or not. If you happen to know he's making these videos later on, you don't know, what you can.
I mean, and there's, let's be honest, there's personal ramifications. Even if you did nothing illegal,
you were there.
Your spouse didn't know you were there.
Exactly. Right.
So, there are all sorts of angles that could be used here.
Yeah. And this comes out from Lil Rod's lawsuit. A few other interesting things Lil Rod claims. He claims that he was fondled by Cuba Gooding Jr.
Oh, really?
On Diddy's yacht. Like, Diddy left them alone on the yacht, and Cuba Gooding starts touching him, fondling him, trying to initiate a sexual relationship. Well, not relationship, but sexual.
Cuba?
Yeah.
Oh, Cuba
Gooding Jr. And show me the money.
That's a decent fella.
Cuba Gooding Jr.'s had a lot of allegations against him through the years.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, well, I didn't know about it until this, right? It just kind of brings things to the forefront.
Way to ruin early 2000s film for me.
I'll be honest with you. At this point, if most films have been ruined for you by something, it's coming. It's coming, right? I mean, I don't know. I've sort of had Jerry Maguire ruined for me already, hearing about Tom Cruise's Scientology behavior.
Yeah.
So, what are you gonna do?
Nothing can ruin Top Gun.
No. I just pretend that's a different person. Days of Thunder as well.
Fair enough.
I love Days of Thunder.
It's underrated. I mean, everybody remembers Top Gun for good reason, but Days of Thunder was really good too.
It was almost like Top Gun with NASCAR.
Yeah.
We're getting off topic, but I love Days of Thunder. Cuba Gooding Jr. Now, Lil Rod also claimed that Diddy was responsible for a shooting in a club in 1999 that the rapper Shine was convicted of. Shine, Diddy, and J-Lo, who was dating Diddy at the time, were at this club, and there ends up being an altercation. Someone gets shot. Now, according to Lil Rod, Diddy was actually the person that shot the man. And the man didn't die. He was just, sort of shot at and was hit.
Have you looked at the evidence against the other guy?
Against Shine?
Yeah.
I mean, it was just someone's word, and Shine was.
I mean, I guess convicted. What I'm getting at is it feasible that Diddy did this?
Oh, very much feasible. Like they were, like I said, they were hanging out there together.
Do you know of a motive?
Well, like I said, there was an altercation.
Oh, okay.
And he said Shine take the fall for him. Basically, it is what Lil Rod is saying here. Now, Shine served his prison time and then moved back to Belize, where he's now an elected official. He's the leader of the opposition party.
Did he pay his legal fees?
I honestly don't know. I don't know about that. I would think so, especially if Shine was taking the fall.
I mean, if he took the fall for him, you'd
pay the legal
fees.
Yeah. But now, also according to Lil Rod, J-Lo would have been an accessory to this because she hid Diddy's gun in her purse.
I hope that's not true.
I hope so as well. Though right around this time, J-Lo and Ben Affleck were filing for divorce, and some people speculate that could have been to try to protect assets if she was, faced with any legal proceedings because of that.
Yeah.
And you could also assume these freak-offs could have been going off back then as well. J-Lo could have been involved in them. And we don't know. I mean, J-Lo was still building her career really when she was dating Diddy. So she may have done any number of things possibly to get that career off the ground. We don't know. And we don't know what she could have been involved in either. So she's someone else whose names have been thrown around with these videos that could be possible blackmail or something like that.
Gotcha.
Now, he also claims, Lil Rod, that he was underpaid for his work on producing Diddy's The Love album. This is not an uncommon accusation for Diddy. A lot of industry people have claimed that he would not pay people on the Bad Boy label properly for their work, or he would withhold royalties from them in order to get them to comply with this or that.
Right, just a form of manipulation.
It's not an uncommon power play, for people in power. It's not necessarily about the money. It's about
the control.
Right? And he would, get them to sign contracts. Apparently, the Bad Boy contracts were really bad as far as the publishing of your songs went. And with rappers, who always write their own work. A rapper never completely covers a song, right? They're always writing their own verses.
Right, exactly.
So they should always have songwriting credits. And if Diddy's getting a big chunk of that, it seems unfair. Then the accusations go on that he would offer to give them back their royalties or their publishing rights in exchange for signing non-disclosure agreements about things that happened at Bad Boy. As I said, these are allegations. I have no proof of this, but it's something that's spoken about a lot in the documentaries. And people talk about
those contracts were even more restrictive than the typical contract for the industry.
Very much. Well, especially financially. Like the non-disclosure agreements were uncommon, but that was sort of a bargaining chip to get that. Right. But beyond that, it wasn't just the contracts they signed. Like he would not pay people what they were owed to start with in order to get them to comply with these things. Right. Allegedly. I want to keep saying allegedly. Diddy has a ton of lawyers here. So.
He sues us, we immediately become one of the biggest podcasts in the world.
I guess that's true.
Allegedly, not allegedly.
Yeah. I don't know what he's going to take from me anyway. I've got a broke down car. Come after that. Maybe come after some medical bills. I don't know. At any rate, yeah, this shows a pattern of behavior for him, right? It's very manipulative, lots of power plays in this. And you can see this in his history, I suppose you could say. You have the allegations back in 1991 of the rape, the abusing this woman, right? The sex parties that have gone on for who knows how long. There have been so many Hollywood names tied to that, people that could be being blackmailed by Diddy. We really don't know. Ashton Kutcher is a name that's pulled out a lot as far as Diddy goes. Well, Ashton Kutcher and Diddy
seems like an odd pairing.
Were really good friends.
Oh, I didn't know that.
For a long time. Ashton Kutcher was a regular at his white parties.
So what exactly is a white party?
The white parties that Diddy threw were basically just these very elite, very exclusive parties that had a lot of Hollywood celebrities, a lot of music industry insiders, very famous people. And they were called white parties just because you had to wear all white.
Oh, see, my mind went somewhere completely else. Like I thought maybe it was like the people he was embarrassed about having around his real friends.
No. It was just you had to wear all white. I don't know why that was. Maybe another power play. You can't come to a party unless you wear all white, right? But this was the most exclusive party in the world at the time. Was Diddy's white party. Everyone wanted an invitation to Diddy's white party.
I guess that's what LeBron was talking about when he said, I hope at least, when he says there's no party like a Diddy party.
Well, possibly, but Diddy has always been a party thrower, right? Okay. So like he's always had tons of parties that everyone wanted to go to, whether they were the white parties or not. But we were talking about Ashton Kutcher at the time, but he's just someone that was known to hang around Diddy at the time. This was back when he was super famous from that 70s show, stuff like that.
Has he been implicated in any of this?
No, but we could probably do an episode just about Ashton Kutcher and some of the crazy things that have come out about him, you know. Well, it's just strange because, you know, he was supposed to be this warrior against sex trafficking, right?
Right.
And then all of a sudden he is a supporter of Danny Masterson, who is
right.
very, very well documented sexual offender, abuser. And then it turns out he's really close friends with Puff Daddy, who was doing all this stuff. So, yeah, we could do a whole episode on Ashton Kutcher at some point. I don't want to get too far into it, but it's just some of those.
Yeah, it's not a great track record of friends right there.
No, it's not. But like I said, you had Ashton Kutcher, you have Jay-Z and Beyonce, Kanye, all these people tied to Diddy. But what celebrities aren't really? You know, what celebrity hasn't been to his parties?
Fair.
Like I said, we're talking about LeBron. Nobody does a party like a Diddy party. But we don't even know if LeBron was at one of the white parties. He could have been at any number of parties that Diddy threw. You've seen so many celebrities talk about, I was at Diddy's parties. I didn't see anything, you know, like maybe they weren't invited to the right party. Right. Especially because these freak offs, these orgies sometimes lasted for days. Yeah, there are reports that people had to have IV fluids to recuperate and get back in there.
What the hell were they doing? You know what? Don't go into it.
Let's not even talk about the 1,000 bottles of baby oil.
Yeah, I saw the reports.
Yeah, I was going to get to that later, but yeah, that 1,000 bottles of baby oil. You got to have something going on.
I don't even want to think about what you would need that much baby oil for.
I can't imagine needing more than a bottle of baby oil. I'm still on the same bottle of baby oil, and I'm on my second baby.
My guess is that these are completely different applications of the baby oil.
I saw one of the funniest things that I feel like I ever just noticed out in public was after the 1,000 bottles of baby oil were seized. I was walking through a dollar store. I was in the baby section, obviously, because I'm always buying pacifiers, diapers, wipes, stuff like that. And I see that there's some baby oil that's on clearance. Got like the bottoms dropped out of baby oil presses now that Diddy's off the streets. Maybe not as funny as I thought it was. I don't know if Johnson and Johnson took a stock hit or something.
Maybe so. No, expecting an upturn, maybe buy low.
And then when Diddy's lawyers came out and said, there's a Costco right down the street, people buy in bulk in America. Oh, we've got to find an audio clip of that. It was insane.
Yeah, I've seen some pretty good memes since the baby oil allegations.
Yes, I'm sorry. We got off track there talking about
a little bit.
Diddy's friends and everything that was going on with the accusations of Lil Rod. But this is everything that Lil Rod has accused Diddy of. And the biggest thing is this blackmail and how widespread his organization could be, right? Now, Diddy, he had homes in LA and Miami that were raided. They found lots of guns. I think almost all of them were registered. Maybe not all of them. They didn't completely release that information. There was the 1,000 bottles of baby oil. And then Diddy is arrested in September of 2024.
What were the charges?
Racketeering, racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking, transportation for engaging in prostitution.
Racketeering is such a broad charge. Do you know specifically?
No, I don't know specifically, though. I'm sure a lot of it had to do with the blackmail. You're talking about like his business is involving this blackmail.
I mean, that charge exists to take on organized crime. Yeah,
I mean, Diddy is literally in a RICO case by himself right now too. I heard another comedian say that, but it doesn't make it less true.
Okay,
it's really crazy that one person is involved in this RICO case. They're not trying to tie him to anyone else. It's wild. It's insane. Now, when they raided his homes, a lot of people say that this showed racism in the system because the Homeland Security raids his homes with bulletproof vests, guns, body armor, everything, right? They cuff his two sons. They're saying, nobody cuffed Weinstein's family, right? And I'm not saying this is not an unfair allegation, but I think it's more that he is like Epstein than Weinstein, that what caused these raids. Right.
And I mean, they probably also knew that he had a stockpile of guns. That's going to change their reaction. I can't imagine Harvey Weinstein had a ton of guns.
Well, no, but even if he did, I mean, I don't think anyone thought that Diddy was going to be trying to shoot Homeland Security, though.
Well, when does that ever stop police? I mean, if they know you have an arsenal in your house, that is absolutely going to impact the way they approach. Even if they think there's a low percentage chance you will actually use any of those weapons.
I guess we should just say he was lucky it didn't hurt like Waco.
Yeah.
Oh God, that's a whole other episode. We can't get into that either.
We should probably cover it in Ruby Ridge at some point, though.
Well, that and Ruby Ridge, you're leading into Oklahoma City bombings as well. So that's all.
Well, there's 3 episodes right there.
There you go. Okay, sorry. Let's get back to the topic. Now, as I was going to talk about, this is a behavior that goes way back for Diddy, right? We know that Diddy started out back in 1990. He was just an intern at Uptown Records. And he moves up from there to eventually get possibly fired from Uptown Records, possibly let go so he can start his own label, depending on who's telling the story. But in 1993, he starts Bad Boy Records. He takes Notorious B.I.G. and Craig Mack with him, and his label starts. And he starts becoming who he is now. But we have to look at, who did Diddy walk on along the way? We talked about these bad record contracts he had with Bad Boy.
Right.
There has always been talk that Diddy was involved in the death of Tupac Shakur.
Yeah, of course.
Obviously, Diddy was involved in the beef between the East and West Coast, right?
Oh yeah. Him and Suge Knight were basically the two primary instigators, right?
Exactly. And we talk about East and West Coast. It was mostly Bad Boy Records in New York and Death Row in LA.
Right.
And so how can Diddy not be a driving force of this, right? Then you end up with Tupac being Tupac was actually attacked before
he was killed.
Before he was killed, he was attacked at a record studio where he was going to meet with Biggie and Puff Daddy.
Isn't that what's depicted? This is the aftermath of what's depicted in that Tupac video, where he walks in with Biggie and Tupac. Well, the actors playing Biggie and Tupac in the ring.
See, that's what caused Tupac to write the "Hit 'Em Up" diss track, which was at the time the most famous diss track of all time.
Was that the one I'm thinking of?
Yeah, it is. Okay. Yeah, and then so Pac is attacked. He's shot at the in the bottom floor near the elevator of this recording studio. Right. Now he always blamed Biggie and Puff Daddy for that, and obviously they said they had nothing to do with it, and this is what really got the animosity between those two rappers started. I don't know if they were involved or not. Very possible they were. It goes on down the line to this huge feud between Tupac and Biggie, between East and West. Tupac is killed in Las Vegas, and now there was talk for years, but now we have people coming out and saying, yes, Sean Combs, hired me to kill Tupac Shakur.
I mean, rappers have been accusing them of killing Tupac for ages
now, and who wouldn't expect it, right? But like I said, it's still just allegations. But now, you even have allegations now that he could be responsible for Biggie's death, right? And not just in the sense of he had Tupac killed, so in retaliation, Biggie was killed, so he's responsible. No, like he may have actually hired someone to kill.
I mean, directly responsible, not just morally
responsible for Biggie's death.
I mean, what motive could he have had? Why would he have wanted to kill his biggest, or probably his biggest cash cow at the time?
Well, this is all from a new not all, but quite a bit of this is from a new documentary that just came out on Peacock. Mm-hmm. You have a former bodyguard named Gene Deal talking about this. And he's saying that at the time, Biggie wanted to get out of Bad Boy Records. Okay. A lot of it's because of the publishing deals and how all his money was tied up with Puffy, and Puffy trying to control everything. So he wanted out of that. Now, around the time, Deal also claims that Diddy, or Puffy, whatever you want to call him at the time, was acting really strange right around the time that Biggie was shot. He was acting really anxious, and he kept saying that he needed to get into this party. He was going to this specific party, the party where he was leaving, he was shot.
Right.
Now,
so he's saying he seemed abnormally interested in getting him to the
party. Now, according to Deal, Biggie kept saying, "Oh, I've got to be in London. I've got to go to London." And Puffy, somebody, no, he's not going to London. He's coming to this party. So
he was suspiciously intent.
Suspicious at any rate, right? So he could be, this is all allegations, but he could be responsible for Biggie's death as well. So this is a long-standing history for him, right? And the sex parties, according to the Peacock documentary, actually go back to when he was a child. His mom, after his dad was shot, his mom would have these wild parties where there's a lot of drugs and sex, and he was just exposed to this as a child.
Can't be great for the developmental stage.
No. And then, that stretches on into where most people have heard about this, where he actually, Usher lived with him for years when Usher was like 13 years old.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was
I don't know a ton about hip hop. So.
Well, yeah, Usher, it was part of Usher's, I guess, training to become part of the industry. I don't remember the entire story. I feel like it was Quincy Jones. It may not be Quincy Jones that had Usher go stay with Puffy to sort of become a part of the industry, to learn what was going on with the industry, because Usher was just like 13 at the time. And, Diddy said Usher lived with him. And in interviews, Usher's been like, I was exposed to a lot of stuff at the time. So it's just sort of like, it's going back to when Diddy was a kid, and now he's doing this to someone else, right? And then he's got these sex parties and blackmailing going on. I mean, his dad was basically a gangster, right? Diddy's dad.
Oh, okay.
And then he was shot when Diddy was a small child. Diddy grew up in the suburbs. That doesn't change the fact that his dad was a gangster,
right?
So this is a really something that goes back to his childhood, and we've talked about this before. Monsters are made; they're not just.
Yeah.
I mean, you can be a bad person. Don't get me wrong, but there's usually something in your past that this experience.
It's not just you're not just born a quote bad person. No. That's not how these things work.
And I'm not going to go as far as some of the people in the documentary.
Now, you can be born with predispositions for certain behavior,
right?
But
I will say, he obviously had these experiences as a child. This could have caused some of this, but I'm not.
This is
I'm
purely
not trying to,
explanatory, not in any way
to
try to
you
minimize.
You still cannot do these things, right? But I think it's important to understand this.
Yeah, of course it is.
Um,
Yeah, just explaining something doesn't mean you're minimizing it.
But as we were saying, this is very long-standing behavior for him, possibly going back to his childhood. And as we've been talking about, there's no telling how many celebrities he could be blackmailing. Maybe not. Maybe this is all just talk. But how many people could it be?
Specific names mentioned?
Obviously, we talked about J-Lo and Cassie in the videos because they're very much tied to him. For some reason, people throw around Will Smith's name with this.
Really?
I don't know why. That could just be rumor. Then obviously you have Jay-Z and Beyonce. This is because Jay-Z and Diddy have been big friends for a long, long time. They're both industry moguls. And you see them hanging out together. They're both rising to power. When you look at it now, where you see Diddy could have been rising to power because he's walking on people, abusing people, blackmailing people, people start to wonder, was Jay-Z doing this as well? You know, because Jay-Z and Beyonce, this is like the music industry power couple. Right. I mean, Beyonce has more Grammys than anyone. You add up Jay-Z and Beyonce's Grammys, and I mean, you could build a house out of them.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, their daughter has a Grammy.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, Blue Ivy has a Grammy at this point. I'm trying to remember exactly what it was. I think Jay-Z put her as a producer credit on a song, and she got a Grammy for it.
Oh, okay.
And you honestly, you're getting, like, if you look at TikTok and stuff, people are saying now, did they deserve all these Grammys? You know, are they getting these Grammys because they blackmail people? Are they getting these Grammys because they're the most powerful people in the industry?
I'm sure being the most powerful people in the industry doesn't hurt.
It doesn't hurt, but I'm not qualified to say.
And there does sound like a little nepotism there with the writing credit Grammy.
Okay, with Blue Ivy, I'm not going to. That's wild that she has a Grammy. I'm not even going to talk about that.
Okay.
But I'm not going to discuss. I'm not qualified to discuss. Does Jay-Z deserve this Grammy? Does Beyonce deserve this Grammy?
Yeah, me neither.
These are hardworking people. I know they worked really hard to get where they are, but what else could have happened? Now, as far as Jay-Z goes, there is one other allegation that really ties him into Diddy, and that is that back in 2000, Jay-Z and Diddy were accused of raping a woman, which was 13 years old at the time. Now, this is a woman that's accusing them now.
Wait, she would have been 13?
Been 13 at the time when they would have raped her. Now, this woman is being allowed to stay anonymous. Yeah. The judge in the case is allowing her to stay anonymous. So it's really hard for us to make any judgment calls on, did this happen, did this not happen? And at this point in the case, it's so hard to say. Like, you know, some people are going to jump on just to try to get some money out of the lawsuit.
But honestly, I don't even know how you defend yourself when the victim can remain anonymous. Like,
well, it is early.
Or is it anonymous to us, but not to him? Well, it's publicly anonymous.
It is anonymous to everyone right now, and she's being allowed to stay anonymous at this early stage in the trial. But obviously, if it goes forward, that it's going to have to, if not become completely public, the lawyers at least will need to know who this person is to gather facts.
So just to clarify, right now, Jay-Z does not even know who's accusing him.
As far as I know, that's correct.
Unless he did it, in which case he knows exactly.
In which case, yeah, he and Diddy would both know exactly.
I mean, at least I would hope, unless you've molested enough 13-year-old girls that could be anybody.
Well, with the allegations against Diddy, that he could have done this, have no clue if they're all correct. And now I'm not one to even blame an accuser at this point, but with something of this size and so many accusations, obviously there are going to be some people that are putting their name in here just to try to get paid, you know, in these big lawsuits.
It always happens.
I wouldn't say that about this person. We don't even know who this person is.
Of course, it doesn't diminish the actual victims, but there's always going to be some people that are just trying to get money.
Exactly. But this does strongly tie Jay-Z to Diddy in this particular case. But like I said, I don't know if that's true or not. You know, and I hate to try to, I don't want to sit here and tear someone down. They could have just worked really hard to get where he is, you know. But at the same time, I don't know if any billionaires have gotten where they are without, you know,
some shenanigans.
I
mean, yeah, it's impossible to say one way or the other. I mean, if she's completely anonymous, all we have are accusations right now. So
right, I'm not just talking about that. I'm talking about any accusations against Jay-Z as far as being tied to Diddy with the blackmail, the parties, you know. I'm sure there are some people to be very interested to see if if he was being blackmailed by Diddy at some point, or if they were working together to blackmail people, or if he's completely uninvolved, though. I mean, because Jay-Z and Beyonce, they have a lot of fans.
Right.
And the Beyonce fans can be rabid. And that's why I am not going to make any accusations against Beyonce whatsoever, because her fan base could even come after small podcasts like us. I'm sorry. Let's get back to this. I was really trying to draw this to a close, talking about just the fact that Jay-Z could be completely innocent in all this. We don't know. That's kind of what's going on with this case, because so much of this is under wraps right now. But when it does go to trial, there's going to be a lot of information. And between now and then, there will be a lot of information that comes out.
With the Diddy allegations, there's enough publicly that I'm going to strongly assume he's guilty of most of it.
Allegedly. I'm not going to say most of it. I'm saying there are things he's guilty of.
Well, I don't have to say allegedly if I say I assume.
Assume. I just like saying allegedly when we're dealing with this.
Assuming. I don't give a shit.
Hey, if we do an episode about Scientology, I'm saying allegedly.
I don't have anything for you to take, and all you'll do is get our podcast out there. So please
go for it,
Diddy.
Go for it. But yeah, no. Diddy's got to be guilty of some of this stuff.
Well, I mean, we've seen the video.
We know he did.
We know at a bare minimum he is guilty of horrific physical abuse.
That was in public. Maybe no one else was around, exactly. But that was in public.
I mean, he did that in the middle of a hotel next to the elevator.
What does this man do in private?
In private.
It's really scary. Really scary. And the fact that he most likely seems to have blown up Kid Cudi's car. How did he know he wasn't going to be in the car when it blew up?
Who knows?
That is terrifying.
Did she go into details about how he blew it up, by the way?
No, if she did, I haven't seen them. And I've read a lot of articles on this, but I'm assuming he hired someone to blow it up. I don't know if they just blew it up, if it was supposed to be on an ignition timer. You know, he's not in the mafia. This is not the movie Casino. I don't know.
Right.
But it blew up, according to Kid Cudi's spokesperson, around the time that Diddy was talking about wanting to blow it up.
That's pretty compelling.
It's scary. But what's the takeaway from all this? Is the takeaway that everyone in Hollywood, everyone in the music industry is corrupt?
I mean, that's an easy conclusion to jump to, particularly on the internet. But maybe we just wait and see what the court says. Like I said, I think the evidence against Diddy thus far is pretty damning.
It's very damning.
But as far as the people attached to him, like Jay-Z, we just don't have any evidence. It's pure speculation at this point.
We don't, but this has caused a lot of, I guess you could say, disenchantment with fans. You know, I think at this point you're looking at the fact that, you know, who isn't. People are saying who hasn't done something now, right?
Yeah.
But I would like to remind everyone, and I'm not talking about Diddy here. We're all human beings.
Yeah.
We probably all have something in our past that you could judge us for, and you know, we wouldn't look good. I'm not saying not everyone has raped someone, not everyone has blackmailed someone, but we're not all Keanu Reeves either, you know?
Yeah.
We're not all giving up our seats on the subway. You know, we've been mean to someone in public when we're having a bad day. You know?
I mean, to be fair, these allegations are more than being mean to somebody in public.
I'm talking about the more widespread ones now.
Right.
People think everyone's involved. And like I was mentioning Ashton Kutcher, everyone thinks Ashton Kutcher has, you know, had this huge fall from grace, but has he? Obviously, you know, one thing he does is questionable, but he was a warrior for stopping sex trafficking quite a while. You know, I don't remember the name of the software, but it was a big deal, you know, trying to stop sex trafficking.
Just with that is just the hypocrisy of championing that cause and then publicly supporting, you know, a guy,
Danny Masterson, who very, very widespread, you know, abuser of people, right? And we're getting back into Scientology now, but you know.
Oh, was he Scientologist?
Yeah, apparently that's, you know, what allowed him all those years to.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Be abusive.
I've never looked into that case at all. So
because allegedly the Church of Scientology will protect their celebrities, but Diddy is not a Scientologist, so we shouldn't get there. But like, I'm just talking about the big disenchantment with the fans, with Hollywood.
I understand it, though. I think a lot of it is just built on like heavy speculation.
Yeah, and you know what?
There's no problem with just waiting and seeing what happens.
Particularly
with the Diddy allegations, I mean, this is going to go to trial.
Yeah,
we will find out. We'll have a pretty clear idea of what took place, and likely who was involved as well.
I'm extremely impatient to find out, though, as I think most of the fans are. But let's all remember here too, there are victims involved in this too. You know, this is not just a media circus. There are victims that are going to be testifying that went through some terrible stuff. So I don't want to try to lessen that either. You know, I don't want to try to make a big show out of this and say, oh, you know, Diddy's crazy person, but because there are definite victims, and not least of which is Cassie. I mean, she may have had a career, may have become a famous person dealing with Diddy, but nobody deserves to be beaten and drugged through a hotel like that.
Of course not. It was horrific.
And, you know, like, obviously she couldn't leave him for fear of him killing someone, bombing someone's car. That's terrifying.
Yeah, that is horrific.
So it's, there's a lot with this particular case. There's a lot that's still going to come out. And I think we'll probably be doing another episode about it eventually. I think a lot of stuff's going to keep coming out, and it's something we should come back and visit.
And hopefully we'll know more about the Jay-Z allegations as well.
Yeah, and we could actually do another episode just about the allegations against Jay-Z when some more information comes out to clarify that, because I don't want to try to make a judgment call right now one way or the other.
All we have is the anonymous word.
Yeah.
So it's just, right now it's just a story until we know for sure.
But there's still a ton of speculation about his friendship with Diddy. So we'll see where that goes.
Man, it's understandable.
We're really glad to be back. This particular episode we've done is more in the realm of pop culture than we normally go. But we're still dealing with crime here. We still want to talk about mysteries and stuff, but we'd love it if you give us some feedback. Do you want to hear more about these pop culture cases? What is the kind of stuff you want to hear more about? Do you want obscure cases or do you want popular ones?
I mean, for the most part, this just overlapped with what we usually do.
It does, yeah. I'm not opposed to doing more stuff like this, especially when these scandals involve crimes like we've been talking about. Like we said, you know, with Ashton Kutcher, with Danny Masterson, you're getting into our territory or that kind of thing. We'd love to know if you would like to hear more about this stuff. We'd love if you'd like, subscribe. Let us know if you're still sticking around from a year ago when we were recording. We want to hear from you guys. And we will see you hopefully next week.
Thank you very much.